So for today, the first topic is abstract class. What is abstract class? Abstract class is nothing but you can say there is a limitation in inheritance in order to resolve that abstract class has been created. So what is that limitation? I will explain later on. First of all, let's understand uh, why we need abstract class. So if you create a class and if you declare the class with a keyword known as abstract, then that class is known as abstract class. That means here if I create a class and here if I write abstract, then this class has become an abstract class. It can have abstract and non-abstract methods. Non-abstract methods, there will be a method with its body. This is known as non-abstract method. But there is one more method type which is known as abstract method, which will not have any body. It means this class can have this method, this is a non-abstract method, and it can also have this method. This is known as abstract method, and this is known as non-abstract. A method with a body is known as non-abstract, and a method without any body is known as abstract method. So these two types of method you can create in an abstract class. Now, what is abstraction? Abstraction is a process of hiding the implementation details and showing only the functionality to the users. So what is abstraction that I already discussed in the first class of core Java. So abstract class is based on the same concept. It will hide the implementation details and it will only show the functionality to the users. Like here, if you see, you can only see print. Print means it can print anything. But how it is going to print, you are not aware of because it doesn't have any body. So this is abstraction. And an example, if you want to take, like if you send any message to your friend, then you just type the text message and you just press it. Then automatically it delivers to your friend. But how it internally, the message is going from your network to your friend's network, you don't know that internal processing. Right. So you are only aware of a functionality like from your phone, you can send a message to anyone. This is known as abstraction, and based on this, abstraction class has been created. There are two ways to achieve abstraction. Abstraction using abstract class. Here the percentage of achieving abstraction is 0 to 100%. That means it cannot be 100%. And there is another way which is known as interface. With the help of this, you can achieve 100% abstraction. Now, what is abstraction? Hiding the internal details and only showing the functionality. So, what is this percentage? So, the percentage is in this abstract class, if there is only abstract method, it can be more than one. It is not like you can only create one abstract method. You can create multiple, more than one abstract method. So in an abstract class, if there is only abstract methods, then this class is achieving 100% abstraction. But if a class has non-abstract method also, then the percentage is decreased. Now here 50%, 50 percentage. That means in an abstract class, if you only keep abstract method, then the percentage will be higher. It will be 100%. Once you create one non-abstract method, then its abstraction becomes less than 100%. If you create one more non-abstract method, then again the percentage will be decreased. So this is what it's meaning. Why? Because you are creating an abstract method so that no one can else see what internally is happening, right? So you want to create a class which will only contain abstract methods. But this class has a probability to create non-abstract method also. So in that case, there can't be 100% abstraction. You are creating a method where you are declaring the logics which anyone can see. Like if I write any logic, any code over here, so anyone can see and can read like what internal details you are implementing here in this message. But this is what this class do not want to do. This class only wants to create any method that will not have any internal details, like it will be hidden from us.
So when it is required in means practical scenario.
Yes, I'm coming to that one. I will create a program with a practical example, then you will understand uh, the uses of abstract class, where it is actually required. And also it resolves one of the, I would say, the drawback of inheritance. So I will come to that 2 points. So first of all, this is the uh, first of all, this is the concepts of abstraction. Only if you only implement this method, which will not have any body, then you are achieving 100% abstraction. If this is a message and if you write any logic, so I can see, you can see, anyone can see. So this is not the concept of abstraction. Abstraction means you cannot see the internal details. But here, by implementing the non-abstract method, you can see the internal details also. So if you can see what code has been written for this message, so that is when this is not created on the basis of abstraction. So that is why due to this non-abstract method, the abstraction percentage is getting reduced. And it is also not like if you create an abstract class, so you have to create abstract method. This is not mandatory. Okay, so this is actually the drawback of abstract class. It is asking to create abstract method, but it is not making it compulsory. So again, there are some drawbacks in abstract class also that can be resolved with the help of interface. So when I will take the interface class, then you will understand the drawbacks of abstract class. So this is one of the drawbacks. It is creating an abstract class, but it is not making this one compulsory. We can create or we cannot create also. Okay. Now there are some rules An abstract class must be declared with the abstract keyword. It can have abstract and non-abstract methods. It cannot be instantiated. Like an abstract class, you cannot create an object of abstract class. See, it is giving you error. So you cannot create an
Why
object.
we cannot create?
Sorry, come again.
Why we cannot create?
There is a reason. I will explain. There is a reason why we cannot create object of abstract class. But a reference of abstract class can be created. That means this one you can do, but object you cannot create.
Uh, so what will be the difference if we create reference and if we don't create object?
I understand. Just give me some time, you will understand why it is like that.
Okay.
Subclass must override abstract method defined in the superclass or should be declared abstract as well. Like if here, let me create a superclass for this. So this will be our abstract class, and this is the child class. This class I'm going to make it child. So what it will do, it will extend abstract class parent. Once I extended it, now this one is giving you an error, and it is asking you to add unimplemented methods. If you click on this, so you will see this method has been created, overridden, which is the print. Now if I come back here and see, print is an abstract method. So what it is saying, subclass must override the abstract method defined in the superclass or should be declared abstract as well. That means in the parent class, if there is any method which is abstract, a class if wants to extend that particular class, then this class has to implement the abstract method which is defined in this parent class. And in this case, it has to give its body. That means in parent class, we do not create body for abstract class. But if a class wants to become a child class of that particular abstract class, so in that case, what it has to do, it has to first of all implement the abstract method, and also it has to define its body. So from here we can say the body part will be implemented by the child class, not by the parent class. Parent class will simply say there is an abstract method. If you want to make me your parent, you can do it, but you have to implement the abstract method, and also you have to provide the body. Then only you can make me parent. Okay. This one is also done.
Sir, 1 minute. Implement means what?
Implement means
Implement
now,
means giving body.
yes, giving body. Okay. Now why can't we create the object of abstract class? Because these classes are incomplete. If I come here, so is there anything you have written in this for this body, for this method? So the answer is no. So if you haven't done any body part or any implementation, so what you will do by creating the object of this class? Are you going to print parent? Print? Are you going to call print method? So what this print method will do? Nothing. So if this cannot do anything, so what you will do by creating the object of this class? So that is why we cannot create object of abstract class, but we can create a reference. They have abstract methods that has no body. So if Java allows you to create object of this class, then if someone calls the abstract method using the object, then what would happen? There would be no actual implementation of the method. Also, because an object is concrete, abstract class is like a template. So you have to extend it and build on it before you can use it. That means inheritance concept you have to apply. So the main reason is this.
Sir, I didn't understand.
Which one? This one.
Huh.
This is an abstract class. This is a method which is abstract. Is there any code you have written for this?
No.
So if you create an object of this, and if you what you can do, you can call it. So what
Hmm.
it is going to do for you?
It will call and do the operation whatever is there in that method.
So have you implemented any operation in
No,
this method?
no.
So it means it won't do anything.
Right.
So what you will do by creating object of abstract class? You are not able to do anything.
But there are normal methods also, na? Concrete method
Ah,
means normal methods.
concrete methods means yes, we have normal methods, but just to access a concrete methods which you can create or you cannot create, there is a probability you can create or you cannot create also. Just for this, you cannot create an object of this class. If you want to access a concrete method, so what you can do, a child class is going to extend this, right? So it can actually call this method. If you want to call this method, then you can call it with the help of child class.
Means you can create object of child class.
Of child class object, definitely we can create.
But child class is also abstract class.
No, no, this is not abstract. This is the normal class, which is extending an abstract class.
How can
So
we differentiate which is abstract class?
with the
Okay,
keyword,
okay. Abstract keyword. Okay, okay.
okay.
Okay, so a normal class is extending an abstract class.
Yes, normal class can extend abstract class. But if it is extending, then it has to give the implementation body.
Okay.
Okay?
So, sir, a child class can have a body, right?
Yes, child class can, it has to give a body, because if it doesn't give, then you have seen what happened. It was giving the error. Like if I remove this, so it will give you the error. So it has to implement and it has to give the body.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the meaning of.
But we are not given logic, right? Yeah, like after extending, we are not implemented it.
Yeah, we haven't given body. Just now I'm just explaining the concept. But later on I will give the
Okay.
implementation part of it also.
Then what is the use of abstract class? Why we need to write
I
function?
will come to that part. I will write a practical program, then you will understand. Okay. So this is the why we should not create object of abstract class. Okay. Which of the following is false? This is an MCQ question about the abstract class. If we derive an abstract class and do not implement all the abstract methods, then the derived class should also be marked as the abstract using the abstract keyword. So this statement is also correct. Like if you are not implementing this one, then it will give you an error. So what you can do, you can make it abstract also. You can make child class also abstract. If you
If
It
we
want,
didn't give
make
any
the
error.
method,
It didn't give any error.
I'm coming to that one. Let's suppose there is a child class, okay, which is extending an abstract class. So either it has to implement its abstract method, or you do not want to implement the abstract method, you have to make the child class abstract also.
or if we make the method only abstract, why to make the class abstract?
Sorry, come
Uh,
again.
If, if we keep the method again same abstract in the child class also, then
No, no, no. You are declaring this child class also abstract. Then in that case, you do not need to implement this method. Once you make this child class abstract, then you do not need to implement any abstract method of parent class.
then why are we extending? There also there will be no body. In this also there will be no body. Both the classes with no body
Then,
methods.
then here you can create your own abstract class. Now for this class, you can create an abstract method. See, in Java, there are so many options. So now there will be confusion why this is, why this is that. If you work as a pure Java development developer, then you will understand its uses. So currently we are just learning the keeping testing concepts in mind. So that is why we thought like why it is not why it is required. Why we will do that. But you know, like there are so many options are available in this world, but everyone we cannot use it. Everything we cannot use it. We use only those ones which are suitable for us. So the same concept in Java also. There are so many different varieties are available. Now you don't know like in which situation you need this kind of concept. So that is why Java has created all the kinds of concept. Like we do not use do while. So still there is a do while. We do not use. There are so many still there are so many things we do not use, but still the concepts are there. So the same logic you can think over here. Like you can create an abstract class, child class. You can make it as abstract, and you can create its own abstract method. This is an option, but definitely we are not going to use it. They will use this one only. We are creating a child class keeping in mind so that one second, we can do some operations. We want to implement the abstract method of the parent class. So that is why I'm creating the child class. So I will go with the first option, not with the second option. I will go with this option because this is the reason I am creating abstract class. But there are different options also which you have to understand, like what it is the concept. If it is required, you can use it. If it is not required, we do not use it. This option we do not use it, means making the child class also abstract. We hardly use it. We use the first option. We want to implement the abstract method of this class. This is my intention. Okay, so this option is correct. Which of the following is false? Abstract class can have constructor. So yes, it can have constructor also. A class can be made abstract without any abstract method. Yes, this one we have seen. We have created an abstract class, which it is not necessary that we have to create an abstract method. So this statement is also correct. A class can inherit from multiple abstract classes. So this is multiple inheritance concept. So this is not correct. So your option will be this. This is the false statement about the abstract class. In that way, there are some MCQ questions I have created. You can read this. Now let's move on to the programming part. Now with this program, you will understand the uses of abstract method, sorry, class. Now the question was, if we are not giving any body, so why we are creating this kind of methods, right? So let's take an example of this program is of banking related. So I'm going to give you the same example, a real life example I'm giving you. We all aware of the RBI, Reserve Bank of India. It is the governing body of all the banking systems of India. Every bank, SBI, Axis, or any different kinds of bank, all the banks operates under the rules and regulation of RBI. So let's suppose RBI has created a rule. If any customer, let's suppose the bank name is SBI. If any customer comes to SBI bank and wants to open his account, and if that customer deposits some amount, so RBI is instructing to the SBI bank, if it is happening, then you have to provide an option to the customer so that customer can check his account balance. So this is an instruction which is given by the RBI. RBI is not telling to SBI the process for how the SBI bank will implement this instruction. RBI just giving the instruction. Now SBI has to implement the this instruction. And how SBI will implement this, RBI doesn't bother about that. So what is the role of RBI? Creating rules and regulations. And other banks will have to follow the rules and regulations. How they will follow, it depends on them. But they have to follow that under the guidelines of that rules and instruction. So here this print is nothing but an instruction, which now you can consider this as the RBI, this is the SBI. If this has to implement, if this has to work as a banking operation in the India, then he has to follow all the instruction of RBI. So RBI has given an instruction, so it has to implement the instruction, and how he will implement it is totally dependent on the SBI. RBI is not going to spoon feed like this is how you have to implement. It is totally dependent on you how you are going to implement, but you have to follow the instruction. So this is a practical example of abstract class, the uses of abstract class. If there is certain situation where there are some bodies which are working under a governing body. So he will be the abstract class who will just give the instruction. Now the bodies which are working under that parent one will have to follow the instruction and has to implement the instruction. So that is why there is a concept of abstract class where it will only give the instruction. Now the child class has to follow the instruction. Now if I move on to the inheritance,
Are we using this abstract class concept in general programming?
yes, we are using it. There is a program which I will create based on abstract class only. But before that, let me complete one thing. There is an advantage. There was a disadvantage in inheritance, so I have removed that one. So this advantage was in this. If you see in the parent, what you can do, you can. This is not the parent. This is the child class. This is the parent class. Okay. Yesterday we have seen a concept called method overriding, right? Okay, it has already. This child class can also implement and change its body, change its implementation. Once it is doing, then with the help of child class object, we can only call this method. And then the method that is overridden, now it is of no use. Now, since we are not able to call it, so now the implementation that we have done here, there is no use of it. There is a parent class which has a print method, which has an implementation. Once the child class inherit that parent class and overriding the same method, so that method is overrided, the parent method. Now the parent method, since overrided, so there is no use of the parent method because the previous one has been overridden and a new improvisation has been done. So we only going to, if we call with the help of this object, so only this one is going to be called, not the parent method is going to be called, which is overridden. If you override something, then you will only use the latest version, not the previous version, because that is why you are overriding something, right? So here is the disadvantage. If this can be override and later on its implementation cannot be used, so why to provide implementation? Just remove the implementation, because in child class anyway is going to override and can provide its own body, its own implementation. The later on, the implementation that you have done in the parent class are not going to be used. So if there is a possibility, such possibility, so better to remove this implementation from the parent class and it lives to the child class, implement it and give and do whatever you want to do. Because this part has become no use. So in order to remove this disadvantage, abstract class has been created. Now in the abstract class, what is happening? This is the parent class. So they are creating a body. They are allowing to create an abstract method which will not have any body, because there is a possibility a child class can extend this one and give its own body. So it's better to not allow to create any body, because later on it is not going to be used. So in order to remove that disadvantage of method overriding in inheritance, a new version has been created which is known as abstract class, and here that drawback has been resolved.
Understood.
Understood?
But until unless the child class use the same method, then like it will be useful, right? So no, no. What I'm saying is like until unless how parent class will get to know until unless child class implement is going to implement the same method or not. But usually the inheritance concepts uses like we will be accessing the methods and variables from the parent class, right? So usually parent class should have implementation in the real time programming.
See, there is also implementation. But if you implement the same method in the child class, that is known as method overriding. And now if you call print method, so parent class method is not going to be called. This method now you cannot call. Only the child class parent method will be called.
No, no, but how parent see first we will write parent class, but how do we get to know in the future any child class will be uses this method or not? We don't know, right? So
So let's suppose right now you are not overriding the parent class method. So in that case, you are not following the method overriding concept. Like there is only a print method in the parent class, and there is no such print method in the child class. Then this one is going to call the parent one only. So the explanation that I'm giving for the method overriding. If you are following method overriding in your program, let me run this first. Okay, so now it is calling the parent one, because there is no overriding concept. So in that case, this is useful. But you implement the same method if you're using overriding concept in your program, then if I run the same program, then child one will be called. So
But at
if
times there,
yeah, go ahead.
but at times there can be a condition where we need uh, this overriding of which we have overridden. We need of parent only.
If you are overriding, then you cannot use the parent one. This is the concept of overriding. If you are overriding, then previous one we cannot use it. That is why you are using. If you want to use this one also, then don't override this in the child class. But if
So
you are
why can't we do directly? We remove that method only from parent, and there will be a new method in child. Why to
yes,
override only? We
that
should
is the
directly
drawback.
remove it.
That is the
Okay.
drawback of inheritance. That is why I'm explaining. This is the drawback. And this, in order to remove this drawback, abstract class has been created, where you don't need to provide any body, just provide the skeleton, the signature. Because at some point, if you are following the overriding concept, then this is not going to be used. But this thing, while creating the inheritance concept, this was not considered. So this has become a drawback. So in order to remove this drawback, they have created a new version which is known as abstract class. So why inheritance? Why abstract? Why interface? We can do everything with the help of inheritance, but why they have created abstract class? There must be some reason, right? So this is the reason. There is another inheritance interface concept also. Why there is an interface if we can do same thing with the help of abstract class? So definitely there is some drawback in abstract class. That is why they have created one more topic which is known as inheritance, right? So due to some drawbacks, in order to remove those drawbacks, they have created new versions of classes. Otherwise, we can also create normal class and we can do all the operations.
so Sunny, you mean to say like in the general real-time programming maybe automating application, so is
Mhm.
it good to define only abstract classes? Huh? So there's no
Yes, yes, yes.
okay, so it's not required to implement anything in the parent class. Huh? If you are, for
Right.
example, login functionality we are writing as a class, parent class, but
Yes.
there we are going to implement the logic, no? So our all the child class will be using the logging functionality. In that case, inheritance only will be useful, no, than the abstract class.
In that case, inheritance will be useful. then you should not follow the overriding concept.
No, my question is how the future child classes, how the parent class will see how whoever is writing the parent class, how he will get to know the child class will override the functionality. Let's say, for example, I am writing the parent class. Okay, someone will be writing the child class. So how the person who is writing the parent class will get to know the future in future like someone will override my functionality. That's the one small doubt.
In future functionality can also be changed, or it can be enhanced. Like right now when you are writing, so you are not feeling there is a use of overriding concept, so you haven't overridden in the child class. So in that case this parent method is useful. But later on, if anyone comes and modify the child class and now he is feeling due to the change in the requirement we have to implement the overriding concept. So if he wants to implement the overriding concept, he has to first go and check if the parent class has any method which he wants to override or not. So in case if he is going to override it, then he can override it. But in that scenario, it will become no useful. So today it has some meaning. You have created keeping something else in your mind. But later on in future,
So
the
in that
requirement
case,
is changed.
again we need to change the class to abstract class. In that case, again.
Yes. In that case, you have to change the structure to the abstract class.
Okay.
In that case, you have to move to the latest new version, the new topic. Right. So that is why there are so many options. Requirement keep on changing. It keep on enhancing. Based on that, you have to use your options, your tools. Okay. So now let's write this program and let's understand it in a more clear way. So first of all, it is asking you to create an abstract class called bank. So let's create it. I'm making this class as bank. With an abstract method get balance. So it is asking me under this class create an abstract method called get balance. Done? Sorry, not this one. It is asking me to create an abstract method. $1,000, $100, $150, and $200 are deposited in the banks A, B, and C respectively. Now there is a bank called A, there is a bank called B, and there is a bank called C. And all these banks, a customer has deposited $100, $150, and $200. So for all the three banks, you have to create bank A. Let me create another class. There will be a bank A. There will be a bank B. There will be a bank C. Okay. Now what is written over here? This amount has been deposited in these three banks. Banks A, Bank B, and Bank C are the subclasses of class bank. So you have to make it a subclass. Once you're going to do this, it will ask you to add the unimplemented method. So now this is the instruction that you have to follow. You have to implement this. This is the instruction given by the bank class. This instruction you have to follow. Same thing you will do here. Done. And now this amount are deposited in all the banks, right? And these banks are the subclasses, each having a method named getBalance. So you have a method called each getBalance. Under this getBalance, for bank B, the amount is 150. For bank A, the amount is 100. For bank C, the amount is 200. So these are the amount which are deposited in the banks. Call this method by creating an object of each of the three classes. Now what this method will do? You have implemented this method. Now bank, the abstract class, wants you to implement this method which will display the account balance. Right? This is the uses of this method. Right? What happened to this? This is the unimplemented method. So why it is giving it? Okay. So this is what has been done. The program has told you to do. This method will give you the amount, the balance that you have deposited. So you are printing. Now see, this abstract class has a method, as an abstract method, where you haven't given any body, because this is a general bank, which is a governing body, which will not working as a banking system. but it has a governing body. So governing body cannot do any specific work. So the bodies like Bank A, Bank B, and Bank C has the responsibility to work as a banking system. And all these banks has to follow the instruction of the bank, rules and regulations. So in that scenario, in this kind of scenario, you have to use the abstract class concept, where you will create a class which will only give the instructions, and there will be different child classes that will follow the instruction and will implement the body. If I give you another example, so let's suppose calculation. In calculation, there are so many things: addition, multiplication, subtraction, right? If I ask you to calculate the area, so you can calculate area of a triangle, rectangular, square, circle. What is the common part? Calculate the area. So the calculate the area is your abstract class, where from where you will just give the instruction to calculate area. Now the classes called rectangle, square, triangle will implement that method, calculate area, and under that rectangle will write its own logic to calculate the area. Square will write its own logic to calculate the area. Triangular will write its own logic to calculate its area. Because every one is going to calculate the area, but the formula is different. That means the implementation part is different, but the common part is calculate the area. So that common part, calculate the area, you will create in the abstract class, where you will not define any body because you do not need any body. But rectangular, triangular, circle, square, they can they can have their own formula of calculating the area, so they will implement the body. Abstract class do not need to bother about the body because abstract class will just give the instruction. So these are the real time scenarios and practical examples where you can use the abstract class, where there is only common thing which is acting as an instruction, and then the rest of the part, the rest of the child classes which have to implement that rules and regulation. Right.
So,
And now, yes,
hello.
yes, go ahead.
So, we can means n number of classes can extend abstract class.
Yes,
Means there is no limitation.
there is no
Means
limit.
if there are 100 banks available in world, so everyone can extend that main bank.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Let's
So
suppose if
everyone will follow that rules. And everyone's implementation, like one will have this much amount of interest, some other bank will have other amount of interest. So that can vary according to the
yes,
banks.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So RBI has, again, you can take the example, has instructed to provide interest rate on the saving account. Now Axis Bank has different saving interest rate. SBI has the different interest rate. So the common thing is to you have to give interest, but you can implement like based on your bank performance. You can give the interest rate. So that is implementation part is different, but what you are going to implement is same. What you are going to implement is same. How you are going to implement is different.
So, sir, this is it means just trying to relate.
Hmm.
There is a main movie class, and
Hmm.
then Paytm, BookMy. So there are multiple who have implemented them, right?
Yes. Yes.
There is one. You can book from private theater also, and you can book from these app also. But everyone has extended them only, and they are
Right.
selling through their medium.
Yes. Right.
Okay, okay,
So these
got
are the
it.
scenarios where we use abstract class. But again, abstract class is just a basic concept. The actual concept is inheritance. Right now, whatever you have learned, we generally do not use it because there is one added disadvantage which I discussed in the beginning of this class. All these things which you are doing in the abstract class, same thing you can do with the help of inheritance. because there are some drawbacks in abstract class which has been resolved in the inheritance. So tomorrow, sorry, next week you will
Through
understand
interface.
interface. Sorry, yes. So next week you will understand the drawbacks of abstract class. Right, like whatever you have seen, you think like this is the solution, abstract class, but no, the actual solution is interface. I will explain why. But as of now, just focus on the abstract class.
I have a doubt here.
Yes,
Yeah, abstract class can have like concrete methods also.
abstract class cannot have abstract method. I already discussed this.
No, abstract class can have like concrete methods.
Yes, it can have concrete methods.
So in that case, like, so how can we create an object of abstract class when it is having concrete methods? So we can't can create an object of abstract.
Abstract class.
Yeah.
This is the drawback of abstract class, which is resolved in the interface. In interface, if you know, we cannot create concrete methods. We are only allowed to create abstract methods. This is the drawback of
How to
abstract class.
understand if that method is abstract? How, matlab, what is, if there is no implementation, that is abstract.
Yes, yes. If there is no body, that is abstract. If there is any body, that is non-abstract or concrete. Okay. Now, if I call from bank C, it will display me the balance for this account, 200. Now, if I go to bank B and check my balance, so it will display me the balance as 150. If I go to bank A and here if I check my balance, it will display me a balance as 100. Okay. So the functionality is same. I am checking my balance, but in different accounts, I have different balances so that I am getting. Okay. So let's now take a break of we have from 8:40 we will start.